Hi everybody, my name is Marco and I am part of the Star Drift Evolution team, and today we will be taking a look at starting the single player career, and I will give you some tips along the way, but with no further ado, let's dive into it. So I had all the 450 stars already, but I decided to reset all my stars in order to um, show you how the career unravels um, from the start, like you, as if you had just bought the game. So the idea would be to first do the tutorial, but this is done automatically. I mean, the tutorial starts automatically, so unless you skip it, you should have already done that before the career. So the career itself is subdivided in uh, 7 different careers. The first one of which is the rookie ones, and the other gets unlocked after earning a certain number of stars. This number is not extremely high, but the number that is required to switch over to the next tracks in different cups in the same career might be a tad more difficult. Um, and we are currently, checking if we should lower this for rookie at 6 stars or something like that. But before getting into that, I would say let's start with what the game offers us at the beginning. So what you have here is basically the 3 tracks that comprise the first cap in the rookie career, and you can see in bottom left that we have 0 money at the moment. You will earn money as you earn stars in this game. So what are stars in Star Drift? Well, stars are basically connected to different challenges. The first 2 challenges will always be finish third or better, or finish first in the race against the AI. The other stars will be based on the times, the times of a single lap, and the time of the total race time. For example, in this case there will be 5 laps in this track, and so the expert total time is based on all the 5 tracks. So there are 2 main modes that are race against the AI and time trial. A very important thing that some people don't exactly get right is the fact that in order you can earn time stars even in race against the AI, but it will be generally easier to do this if you do the time trial option, because by doing the time trial you get the possibility of starting before the goal line, so you can arrive with more speed and start with more speed. So remember to do to try to do the time stars in the time trial mode. Now, regarding the race, at the beginning of the game, please ignore this car. I will get to this later, but at the beginning of the game you only have the rookie car. This one is a secret car, so to speak, which is not actually secret because you will see it in replays and etc. But it's just a car that you don't have at the start of the game. So you start off with the rookie. The rookie is a car that is quite simple to drive, and so it makes for a good first car to use. So this is the camera I use. I use for most of the tracks. I feel like it gives me some decent fine precision while turning to try to drive as close as the apex of the corners as possible. And but well, you might find more interesting or handy some other camera, like for example top down. I really like this camera from an aesthetic point of view. I really love the top down view. I think this is, you know, perfectly drivable, but since the point of view is fixed, you might just need more time to get used to this camera. Now I have quite a lot of experience and training in this view mode since the original Star Drift was basically only top down. But it is a matter of fact that in most situations you will see that the third person cameras are actually easier to use, probably for when you're starting off with the game. We managed to get first place, and let's see if we this is related to what I was saying earlier, that you earn money actually when you win stars. We finished third or better, so we won 7,500 for each star. We finished first, of course. We got a novice lap time, we got a novice total time, but we're missing the expert times. This allows me to point out a very important thing, which is the novice times. You can basically beat them almost with whatever car you can choose and think of. The expert times might require you know, speedier cars, so to speak. But having said this, you don't really need a specific car to win the expert lap times. You really just need 4 or 5 cars, one for each speed categories basically, in order to, you know, get all the stars that are in the game. So it's not like you have to earn all 50 cars in order to complete the game fully. You just need to buy much less than that. So at this point I want to check if we have enough to buy a new car. We have 30,000 and we can actually buy a new car, and this is something that also gets a bit overlooked by some players. So what I really suggest to do is that as soon as you have 25,000, you go buy a new car, and you can do that by pressing Y in this menu, as you can see here, or you can do that from the car market. It's really the same, but let's do that from the career. So at the beginning you will see that you need more cars, more stars to, you know, buy other cars. This is not that huge of a problem, but I will suggest a couple cars here. Among the first ones, I would suggest to get the Fox, probably, because it's the Thunderbolt. Even if we could buy it, it's a bit less reliable than the Fox due to the less grip. So I would suggest you get the Fox as a second car. The Short is actually quite good, and also the Baron is not bad. But among these cars, I would suggest the Fox because, you know, it gives you that a bit more speed and acceleration that might find that you might find basically the progression in the first half of the game to be a bit easier if you switch over to the Fox. So let's get the Fox. Then we just, you know, let's do the race here. Remember to change your car, because another thing that I noticed is that sometimes the player will buy a car. I've seen some streams, then, you know, just press A to confirm it. He wants just to race, maybe just forget about the new car. But let's not forget about the new car. Actually, let's select that. As you can see, in the game there are a lot of different terrains, which are very different. Ice is very, very slidey. Ooh. And yeah, and in the game there are also emojis, which you will learn to love, even if they, you know, look a bit out of place maybe at the beginning, but they are actually quite a big part in multiplayer. And they are very fun to play with in multiplayer, along with the horn. I've got a cow horn, I think. Yeah, that got, you know, modeled over the music, and the animal horns are great. But having said this, let's concentrate on the race. I'm third at the moment, and as you will have seen, I use a top-down view for the first half of the race, but this proved to be not as efficient as I thought. I got second place. That's fine. I will not complain about that. We got, you know, quite a bit of stars. We are only missing the first place, but we will do that later if needed. So another thing that I wanted to show you is the. Now let's do that in this other track, so we can also earn some stars while doing this. Now I've seen that some players tend to not understand how the replay options work. Maybe we need to make them a bit clearer. But so, just to show you how this works, you can, when you do the time trial, you can select any replay from the leaderboard. I can't remember if what is the default option here. I think it might be personal best. So if you press A, you can change the kind of ghost you want to race against. You will have closest enemy, which is quite nice because it will automatically give you the closest ghost on the leaderboard, close to your position. Remember that if you press A here, you can see your leaderboard position. So if I chose closest enemy, I would race against the Petite ghost. Let's do this. Of course, in this I would say session, I have 0 skill rating. Let me just get to skill rating for a second. And I have 0 because I just reset my stars just in order to start the career from scratch. Please don't do that unless you really want to reset your stars. I just did that for this tutorial purposes. So skill rating, how does that work? So skill rating is based on the expert lap time. So let's imagine that I get exactly 14 seconds in this track as a lap time. If I get exactly 14 seconds, I would get 100% here. Okay, so keep this in mind, and we will compare that to the result that we get now. So let's try the closest enemy time trial ghost. I should get the Cartiope. I get Nikki some fun. Oh yes, this is true. That's because my current time, because I reset the campaign, my current time is basically outside the leaderboard because I don't have any record logged right now. But the fact that the leaderboard is capped, even if I reset the star, is actually good, of course, because I really don't want to, you know, lose these good times that I've set. But having said this, the option is still working as intended because I will be racing against the last people in the rank, which is 25 seconds. So as soon as I okay, the kind of vehicle he used probably has something to do with the time that he get. Okay, so I beat the novice lap time, and above at the center you can see the time of my closest friend. That's some kind of additional, you know, automatic challenge that the games throws on you, so that you have always something to race against. Okay, let's see what time I did get. I did better than the expert lap time because I needed 14 and I got 13.2. And as you can see, my skill rating is above 100 because I beat the expert lap time. So this is how this works, and this is actually a pretty reliable assessment of someone's skill. This is especially useful for multiplayer because in multiplayer you can assess if someone has a good skill rating, that person has played the game a lot, at least, because the complete skill rating, which you can see here in the leaderboard, is the average skill rating for all the tracks in the game. So this means that, for example, Mox Master has 163% as an average on all the 75 tracks in the game. So that's quite good. And in multiplayer you would see this. Let me show you here. I have 6% here, but Mox Master would appear as 136%. So that would let me understand exactly, you know, the people that I have to race against. And related to this is the fact that in multiplayer there is also the teams option, and the teams option will when there are enough people, of course, will try to create 2 or more teams based on the actual skill ratings, so as to create even teams, or at least as even as possible. So okay, let's just see the special events, then we will wrap this first career video here. Oh yeah, I was forgetting to buy another car. I think I can buy another car. Which ones do we have more? We can't still get this, but I can get this. Okay, I like the Petite. It's a very interesting car, even if it has only 1 speed. The reason why I like this car is because it has great acceleration, and so my next suggestion for after the Fox is the Petite. Okay, so let's see the special event, and then we will wrap this up and maybe continue in the next video. Yeah, and I wanted to tell you about another replay option, which is Leaderboard. So a player said, I would like to drive against the top scores, top leaderboards, but the reality is that you can. And how to do that? You select Leaderboard top 10 here, you select Leaderboard as replay option here by pressing A, and by moving left and right you can choose exactly which ghost to race against. So let's say that I want to race against Zerumus. It's selected in yellow, so when I start the time trial I will drive against his ghost. There he is, Zerumus. Let's see what you got. of course, is one of the top times here. I'm trying my best, but well, it's just faster. That's fine. That's fine. How much did we get? We get 15,819. That's still better than the expert lap time, and that's why we are over 100%. And so let's take a look at special event. Special events are races against the AI that limit the vehicles that you can race on. So for example, in this special event, the Petite will be the only car you can use. Allow me to say that even if we hadn't bought the Petite, we would still be able to race this special event, because the cars in the special events will be provided by the organizer of the event. So we will still always be able to compete in any special events. Like for example, Desierto de Tabernas, it's a truck tournament, so the trucks will be provided by them. We don't have to, buy the truck beforehand. On the other hand, if you want to time trial, then you will need to have bought the relevant car. So as you can see, we can't use the the truck in the the time trial because we haven't bought it yet. So let's do a quick race to just show you how the special event work. As you can see, everyone has got a PT. We just have to try and do our best. This track also allows me to speak a little about the jumps in this game. Okay, so in this race I won't care about my placement because I want to show you the jumps as, final suggestion for this video probably. To actually perform a good jump, you must take into account the fact that you can't change the direction of the jump once you are in the air. You can only do it beforehand. So for example, in this case, I steer left before leaving the ground, and as you can see, my car turned left and kept turning left even during the jump. If on the other hand I go straight and I try to turn after that, this is what happens, because left and right, when you are in the middle of a high jump, will just roll your car to the right or to the left, which might be a bit strange at the beginning, but it's actually a good feature because in some cases you might be able to get a better landing by rotating the car. Actually, you just have to keep in mind that in order to turn the car during the jump, you have to do that before leaving the ground. I have played the game for a lot of hours, and I actually love how the jumps are integrated into the game, and it is a system that really rewards skill because there is skill involved in the jumps. You just have to master how to actually be able to do that in the right way. So here we are with another some stars. The very last point I wanted to tackle in this video is about cameras. Now, cameras are a very important part of the game, and I really do suggest everyone to try out the different cameras because they are really very important. As I said, this one is the one that I use the most. I think this camera is the default setting, the current default setting for custom third-person camera. Also remember that you can have much different settings. You can fine-tune, edit the custom third-person camera. Please remember to do that if you, for whatever reason, you find it you know, you're finding the provided default cameras not ideal. So for example, in this case, we have raised the height of the camera, and it's actually not bad, I would say. I might also even prefer it to the one I am using, but this just shows, you know, the kind of fine-tuning that you can get with the camera settings. For example, let's try something like this and see what happens, or maybe just go the full way. And this puts us even more on the ground, resembling an even closer third-person perspective. So this is really just to say that experiment with the settings, with the camera settings, because they are very comprehensive, and you can really create some great angles here that can be convenient and useful for you. I said this was the last point I wanted to cover, but I just wanted to comment on this a bit. When you play top-down, like for example, the default top-down. Now, as I already said, I love this perspective, and I love it so much that I really didn't want players to, you know, being pushed too much away from it. And for this reason, in multiplayer there is the option of starting top-down tournaments, which basically make it so that players can't really use third-person cameras. And I think that's very cool to create, you know, top-down tournaments where everyone knows that everyone is using a top-down camera. But having said this, in time trial and in single player you can use whatever camera you want, and also in multiplayer if that option is not active. The last point is regarding the settings, because I have the impression that many players don't even ever go into the settings. So we'll just take a brief tour of the settings. Now here, as we already discussed, we can customize the camera settings. Now here you can customize the controls. I will say that many players do prefer a higher steering sensitivity, especially when playing from keyboards. And on this point, please remember that the game generally is better with a joypad. So if you're finding the game hard to control, before giving up, please try to play with a joypad, because that's much easier. We got some great keyboard players, but the majority of them prefer to play with a joypad, so please keep that in mind. So remember to, you know, pump up the steering sensitivity if you want to, if you are feeling like your car is under steering, and just play around with the controls to get a feel of what works best with you. There is actually no penalty also for going 100% with the settings, so by all means feel free to do that. I just removed a bit of stabilization assist just because I like my control on the car to be a tad more loose. And this gives, you know, the car a tiny bit of unpredictability, at least in my opinion, and I find it just more fun. It might be that 100% would heal me better time trial result, but I really have kept this like this for ages, and I still get decent time, so I'm fine. Regarding the audio, these are the usual audio parameters you can set. Graphics are the usual performance options. I don't think there is much to be said about this. The emojis now, the emojis you can activate with tilting the right analog stick, and you can really customize them to the point of really there are just there are just a lot of them, and just oh yeah, we got also the cow one. Maybe is that a new one? I want to see how that works. It seems like it's half height. I will check that in game later, but yeah, you get the idea. There is really a lot of emojis, and probably we are going to add some more down the line. these are the horns, and as you can see, there are also some animal ones that I find hilarious. So feel free also to try them. The press short one is just when you press the right analog stick down for just a little. And press long means keeping the right analog stick pressed, and it will activate the second horn. Regarding MISC, we have the AI difficulty. Easy progression mode on or off. This is very important when you're struggling with the campaign. Let's say that you want to see all the contents in the game, but for whatever reason you are struggling to get through the campaign at a decent pace. You can activate the easy progression mode, which will basically make it so that the star requirements just aren't there, and all you have to do is just playing each race once on each track. Of course, there is this small disclaimer, because in the vast majority of the cases, if you are not managing to progress in the career, it really means more that you haven't entered the mindset on how to get decent times in the game. And generally this is because people tend to constantly accelerate in racing games very often. In this game, very often it's the opposite. You have to brake, you have to use the handbrake well, try to stay closer to the inside of the turn, and you will see that you will be able to progress quite nicely. Then we got multiplayer car colors. This means that the game will try to keep the original liveries or force different ones, just to differentiate the cars better. These are a similar option to the above, just regarding the ghost replays. This is the intensity of the force feedback. Speedometer style, basically what happens, what gets visualized in the bottom right in the interface. The speed unit, the country flag, and you can also reset stars and cars, but please avoid doing that if you are not sure of exactly what will happen. And then there is credits. As you have seen, moving from an option to another, from a page to another, activates a different tip at the bottom, so you can just quickly skim through them if you're just curious. This video basically went through most of them anyway, and that's it for today's video. I think this, and I hope this was useful for you. So as usual, remember to join our Discord channel if you are enjoying the game, or if you have some kind of any question or feedback. Discord is definitely the best place for that. Of course, you can still use the Steam forums, but we find Discord a bit easier to keep track of the feedback and organizing multiplayer games and etc. So I hope that you have found this video useful, and see you on the tracks. Bye bye.